They're our first line of defense against major hurricanes, levees surrounding Southeast Louisiana. And the Army Corps of Engineers is about to start a years-long study on their future. Chris Jackman explains the idea of the levee lift.
First, you should know the Corps designed the levees to be 1% levees, meaning designed to handle a once-in-a-century storm. Remember that definition. We'll come back to it later. Now, this comes down to two things: figuring out if the Corps needs to build the levees higher and figuring out how to pay for it. Right now, the Flood Protection Authority is paying to raise the level of some levees known as levee lifts with local tax dollars. The Corps is now trying to decide if it needs to kick in federal money too. But it's not cheap. The Corps officials told me to raise the level of levees on the East Bank, it will cost somewhere around $390 million. Now, the cost on the West Bank will be even higher than that, around $430 million too. Again, this is a rough estimate. They also told me they're confident in the size of the levees in place right now, that they will do the job just fine without additional lifts for several years. This is all about thinking ahead and playing it safe. Now, I went to a meeting with the Corps hosted tonight where they asked the public about their concerns. They also want to know what specific things that you would like to see the planning team consider. Sandy Rosenthal, who founded the group levees.org, attended the meeting. She thinks 1%, that standard, is not enough.
Actually, I think that we should have 5% levees. In other words, that we should have 500-year protection instead of 100-year protection, certainly for the area of the city with the most people, property, and infrastructure. Without levees, we can't do anything. Without protection, we can't do anything. We can't raise our families. We can't bring our businesses here.
Now, if you couldn't make it out to tonight's meeting, the Army says you can still email them your thoughts. I'll put their email address in this story on WWLTV.com.